Thanks, Jonathan, to you and your panel. That's some great information. I know, Jonathan, I am super excited about the rehash of the bar, the new system coming on. Man, that is going to be terrific. As someone who used to have to input that data, whoosh, that's something else. So we do have some, I do have some questions for you. Some of them you've already answered, but we did we did have people ask about the posters. So can you remind people how they can get posters? And this is about the RBS survey, the Recreational Boating Safety Survey.
Sure. So good afternoon or good morning, everybody. We have 8,000 of these flyers ready to go out to your mailbox. If I'm trying to figure out, we have a URL. It's in the Q&A right now. I'll spread it throughout the chat. I'll send it to your email. So let me know how we can get that shared to the audience. I think I even ran into someone at National Harbor that's attending this conference right now that got these posters.
I will say, Jonathan, I think back in the chat in the lobby, that would be a great place to put that. So that would be awesome. So Jonathan's all like, "Yeah, do the survey, do the survey." And one of the important things, just to reiterate about that survey, they do a great job of collecting data, but their biggest source of data is registered boats. And from what we heard earlier from Tom Guess and a lot of other people, there are a lot of paddlers out there. So that's who we want to make sure that we're getting. And this survey will hopefully help get those the paddlers to provide some information for us. But so survey's great, and we may do another reminder before our Q&A is over, but I do have a question about the boat accident reporting database. Ready, Jonathan? This is off the
Go
top.
for it.
Okay. Okay. So, Jonathan, as someone who's been looking at this data, what are some of the challenges in ensuring consistent and accurate incident reporting across states and jurisdictions?
So I think we see different consistency from different states. We have states that provide a full narrative. It explains the incident very well. We know the cause. We know alcohol use. We know PFD use. We know, we can literally reconstruct the accident using the narrative. Then we have other states where we don't know whether it was an investigative issue, where they just couldn't find the data. It literally will just say person was an operator, person drowned, boat sank. That's it. So we have incident reporting resources available through NASBLO. Their best practices subcommittee through the ERAC do a great job in providing example narratives, in providing crosswalks for the new policy letter, change one that we put out. And we're also very accessible here at the Coast Guard. States know that they can reach out to us and we'll provide uh, feedback on their narratives and state reporting.
Terrific. I'm going to ask Nathan to switch over to the open questions, please.
Let's see.
Nathan's behind the scenes and he's pretty awesome. So, okay, I'm looking at these questions and
So it
I'll
looks
go
like,
ahead and ask them to you. Uh, to you, Jonathan, I may actually answer some of them too. So
okay.
for the BARD, one of the questions is for the BARD releasable database, why are some states hiding the HIN or registration number? And I will go ahead and answer, I will try, and then Jonathan can chime in too, because it's just Jonathan and I on this Q&A. So states have different privacy standards, and so the Coast Guard has to go by whatever the state's privacy measures are. So some states don't allow that information. It could be considered personally identifiable information, and some states have other restrictions. Did I capture that correctly, Jonathan?
That was perfect. And that leads into Mr. Flores' question, why doesn't California provide accident data? So California, so let's clarify. California provides accident data to the Coast Guard. We're just not allowed to release it because of California state law. Coast Guard defers to state law and state release policies when it comes to releasing BART data. So you won't see California, I think Oregon, Pennsylvania, and the state laws keep changing. So 2025 will have a different cohort of states that do allow or don't allow the release.
And Jonathan, is that um, are those states, are they still incorporated in the overall national statistics, their
Yes,
data? Okay. So even though you can't see the state specific, you can see it is incorporated into a national statistic. So earlier when you talked about like how many the BUI incidences, that the information from those states does feed into that in those statistics.
correct. So national level statistics incorporate all 56 US states and territories because that number cannot be identified down to the person level. When it comes to releasing our publicly releasable data set, that does not include the states that don't consent because that can be that is more specific accident incident level data that we have to follow state law on.
Right, right. And I think that someone else has asked about age of victims. I think that's a similar issue in terms of privacy. Would that be correct?
Correct. So in the research data set, there are age of victims on the data set. On the aggregate level, in the statistics report, I believe we group them. But yes, age of victim is available if the state releases it to us.
Good. Thank you. Um, so another question, and we've kind of been talking and going around this all day, but just to reiterate this. So from your perspective, Jonathan, how can improved data collection analysis help guide more effective prevention strategies and policy decisions? And not just prevention strategies, but things like we talked about yesterday with, issues with equipment and those kind of things.
So I think it's important to know we collect data really it's to produce our problem statement. What is the problem in the United States when it comes to boating? And then how can we address it with the state grant program, with the nonprofit grant program, through sensible regulation, uh, through even down to the interaction between Coast Guard boarding teams or local law enforcement. So that data helps us drive prevention strategies. So the tidbit we talked about with stand-up paddleboards, that's how we identified that is a problem. Same thing with alcohol. More than a quarter of fatalities when we know the cause of death is alcohol. So that's how we can tweak our focus as the Coast Guard to now say, okay, is it impaired boating? Is it drowning? What is the problem? I think is how we use data to solve that. And when we get into the nonprofit grant program, we report an entire evidence-based overview on what is the problem statement, and a lot of the data goes in and informs that document.
Okay, we're going to take that. Thank you, Jonathan. And we're going to take one more question, although Jonathan and I could probably talk about data a lot today, but we won't, right? We won't bore everybody. But this final question, because then we have to shift gears a little bit. Um, is the survey, so this is back to the National Recreational Boating Survey, is it different for the Great Lakes region as compared to the Oceans region?
So in the survey, when someone takes it, some questions will be filtered out for Great Lakes versus oceans. So in Great Lakes, you're not, there are certain things that don't pertain to you. Same thing with paddlecraft. There's conditional formatting built in for geography and for vessel type.
Terrific. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you so much, Jonathan, for joining us today and joining us live to talk about some data. I appreciate it. Did you have any final last words?
Take the survey. Kayakers, renters of boats, boat owners. If you have large lists of large lists of boat owners and their emails, we would love to talk to you and do a partnership with you. Please reach out. Your response is your response is directly correlated with how successful the survey is. So thank you.
Thanks, Jonathan. All right. We'll see you around there. Okie dokie. So we are going to shift a little bit and take a little bit different tact and look at boating safety as a public health issue. This next session will dive into insights from the Safe State Study, that's hard to say, tongue twister there, and explore how public health approaches can inform and strengthen our prevention strategies. As we listen to the next session, think about how can public health data tell us that traditional enforcement, let me start over again with that question. What can public health data tell us that traditional enforcement data might not? How can we more effectively address behavioral risk factors like alcohol use and life jacket use? And what opportunities exist for stronger collaboration across disciplines? So once again, I'm going to remind you that we will close this session. You'll head to the lobby and you'll start the next session, which will start in about 5 minutes. You have a little bit of a break. During that session, if you have questions, please put it in the Q&A panel. And I would like to sincerely welcome Amy Bailey and her panel to our discussion coming up. Thank you.